Hey guys, this is BiXX. Welcome to another Mentoring Monday. Today I'd like to talk about a very delicate and sensitive topic, being vulnerable. This topic is so deep and such a powerful topic that I'll split it up into three parts. You might ask, why talk about a topic that appears to show weakness? That'd be a very logical question. Being vulnerable can be very uncomfortable and an even more stressful feeling. But what if you could harness the power of vulnerability to ask what you need or express your emotions, and without fear of rejection? What if you could turn your vulnerability into a strength? It could be a big strength. How would that affect your life? I believe it would have a very positive effect on the quality of your life. Being vulnerable is scary. After all, it has the power to change your life. So what is vulnerability? The formal definition is the quality of the state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally. Dr. Brené Brown, in her book, Daring Greatly, defines vulnerability as uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. She's also discovered these two powerful yet opposing takeaways. Being vulnerable is at the core of shame, fear, and the struggle for worthiness. Yet vulnerability is also the birthplace of joy, creativity, and belonging. Dr. Brené Brown states that we must face what it means to be vulnerable: shame, fear, and the struggle for worthiness. To further dive into this topic, I'll talk about three types of vulnerability. Being vulnerable in your relationships. As human beings, we all have wants and needs when it comes to those relationships. But you may be fearful of expressing those emotions openly and risking certain social factors like rejection, abandonment, judgment. And remember that life belongs to the askers. I always say that. Even if, and especially, if you want something in your life, you definitely need to ask for it. The other person is not a mind reader. I often preface my question to ask what I want with, "Could you please help me?" This often breaks down a person's wall and appears to their natural tendency to want to help. Then ask for what you want. You'll usually get a yes. But if for some reason you get a no, follow it up with an open-ended question. For example, why do you feel that way? Or what do you think of? Or where does this strong feeling come from? This allows you to learn about their obstacles and what makes them uncomfortable. So once you understand it, you can ask the question again in a different way that they can agree with. Use your vulnerability to make the other person feel safe. You're inviting the person responding to share more information about any possible objections. This helps to open the conversation and often helps people feel more at ease. Number two, being vulnerable in your mind and your body. Sometimes recognizing where genuine vulnerability shows up in your mind and your body requires your full, undivided attention on yourself, both mentally and physically. When was the last time you checked in with yourself? Try this. Ask yourself questions when you notice yourself feeling vulnerable. For example, how much did I sleep last night? When was the last time I ate? When was the last time I drank water? How did that interaction with a colleague impact me? How am I feeling about my work? How am I feeling emotionally right now? As you become more aware of your thoughts and your physical self, you have the opportunity to gain a sense of your well-being. For example, we often feel the most vulnerable when we're sick. Everyone does, so just expect it. Forgive yourself. Allow it. It's okay. And don't make any major decisions when you're in a vulnerable state, especially when you're sick. Knowing and understanding your mental and physical state at the moment gives your mind permission to be vulnerable, because it basically will follow a pattern. Like, I'm usually vulnerable after I don't eat for a long time, or if I don't get enough sleep the night before. See what I'm talking about? Number three, vulnerability in the workplace. So how you do what you do often leaves you feeling vulnerable. Whether you're comparing yourself to another colleague, doubting your efforts, or a project, or struggling with imposter syndrome. You ever go through that? Like, what the heck am I doing here? Or, I don't belong here. Examples of vulnerability in organizations, the workplace, are everywhere. As organizational psychologist Adam Grant suggests, uncertainty primes us to ask questions and absorb new ideas. So try this. Consider reflecting at the end of your workday. Remind yourself that self-doubt's okay. It might actually ground you, make you more humble. Remind yourself that there's more to learn, and learning is awesome. Remind yourself that you have the power to accept who you are for what you are. It's okay. You might even want to practice affirmation statements like, I'm strong, I'm smart, I'm capable. And when I experience self-doubt, it fuels me to work very hard and prepare, and then over-prepare. And this leads to improvement, and eventually to less self-doubt, and eventually to more self-confidence. So here's another thing you can do when you start to experience this self-doubt or these negative thoughts. Give it a funny name. In other words, objectify it. For example, you can call it minutia mind or papancha. Papancha means the chattering mind. We all get that now and then. So tell yourself, papancha is setting in. It's not real. It's just crazy thoughts. Go away. Pass through my brain. I'll deal with you later. By objectifying these thoughts, giving this state of mind a funny name, they really won't affect you. Okay, in 2 weeks, I'll talk about the benefits of being vulnerable, and in the third and final part of this topic, how you can become more vulnerable in a healthy way. So remember, it's never too late to reinvent yourself, and it's definitely okay to be vulnerable. Cheers.